Hello everyone, welcome to MRU E-Learning empowered by Malla Reddy University. This is Dr. Manjit Kumar Singh, HOD, English, and I'm going to speak on English for engineers. Now my slides include overview of presentation. Now there are certain points need to be discussed. Why English is important for engineers, role of English in engineering, professional communication, email and report writing essentials, presentation skills, listening skills, group discussion and interview, conclusion and suggestion for engineers. Now, why English is important for engineers? Since it's a globalized world and engineers need to communicate everyone around them, hence English is important for everyone. The most of the transaction happens for engineers, right, with the help of English. And English has 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. And the engineers need to master all those 4 skills. Now, coming back to why English is important for engineers. Mainly engineers require communication skills. Now, in communication skills, they need to learn reading, writing, listening, speaking. Then communication can be further divided into verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and written communication. Now, mainly my slides focus on technical writing, presentations, documentations, vocabulary, and professionalism. Now, role of English in engineering. This is very important since English is essential for collaboration and teamwork, and budding engineers need to communicate. Hence, they need to hone their language skills so that they become global citizen. English is also used for research papers, documentations, and technical communication. English helps to get or bring employability skills across multinational companies. Professional communication. Professional communication refers to communication where it happens at workplace. It's a formal communication, and the communication at workplace could be with the clients, could be with the colleagues. And when we talk about professional communications, there are of 3 types: verbal, non-verbal, written. Verbal communication, when we discuss verbal communication, mainly speaking and writing. So in speaking, when we speak, we need to maintain clarity, the tone, pronunciation, confidence, body language, all those things important. When we talk about nonverbal communication, it includes postures, eye contact, gestures, hand movements, etc. When it comes to written communication also happen in a formal context, right? And that could be writing email, writing formal letter, writing memos, writing other documents, right? And while writing, the engineers need to maintain precision, accuracy, and structure. When we discuss technical vocabulary does not mean it has to deal with some technicality, nothing like that. Technical vocabulary deals with domain-based vocabulary. For example, doctors, engineers, and other professionals, they use domain-based vocabulary. For example, lawyers use a certain set of different vocabulary. Engineers need to use a separate set of vocabulary, and scientists need to use different set of vocabulary. So when engineers use certain vocabulary, it has to be related in the field of engineering. And why this technical vocabulary? Because there is no scope for interpretation in this. So the meaning has to be clear, concise, and short. So there should not be any chance of miscommunication. Now, examples you can take it here, like talk, algorithm, circuit, calibration, etc. And moving next to grammar for technical writing. Now, many engineers will think, why grammar for engineering? Now, every language has certain structure or grammar to deal with, and we teachers or students are no exception. So we need to learn certain grammatical skills also, and that can be done through practice. Now, when we come to grammar, we need to be clear that whatever writing we do, whatever sort of writing, for example, email writing, report writing, project report, etc. Whatever writing we do, most of the time we need to use active sentences, active voice sentences. All right. When students tend to use passive voice, what happens is the miscommunication happens, or they are unable to convey the meaning clearly. Hence, they need to use active sentences, and their sentences has to be in present tense, not in past or future tenses, which avoids ambiguity, ensure clarity and instructions. So, my budding engineers, you need to use active sentences. When I say active sentence, means active voice you need to use in your writings, and present tense use. Don't use past and future. Topic. Now, when it comes to email writing, this is very important for all of us, particularly budding engineers or who are engineer. Now, this is the fastest communication we can have, right, when we have internet. Now, earlier in the past days, we used to depend on letters, right? So letters, of course, I'm not saying that letters are not important. They are important. But when you are staying far ahead or from a distance places, if letter reaches to you, it used to take time. But now, email is the fastest channel of communication. Here, we need to be wary about certain things. For example, when you are drafting an email, you need to use appropriate subject lines. That's very important in order to get the clarity that why you are writing the mail. Next, you need to maintain professional tone and be respectful in your tone. And you need to follow certain structures while writing email. For example, greetings, body of email, action, and closing. Okay? And avoid using acronyms or slang or overly casual language. Since this is all part of formal communication, so we need to be formal and respectful while communicating with others. Now, certain things we need to avoid while writing emails. We should not use informal tones. We should not be disrespectful or arrogant. And we should be, while writing or drafting an email, we should not just type anything or whatever we have written and immediately send. Right? There are certain ways to reformulate changes. Now we need to do the little more, readings. Then after readings, we need to, if any changes are required, we need to make it, right? We need to see grammatical errors or any other error which is going to harm your, scope or opportunities in coming days. So we need to be careful while drafting a mail, because it reflects your overall personality. Whatever you write, others will come to know about your writing or your attitude, like you are nonchalant or you are not serious about your work. So review, revise, write, review, revise, and then send. Okay, that is the appropriate way to draft and send the email. So this is all about email writing skills. Moving to the next skills which engineer needs to have, that's very important, like report writing. Now, any engineer, right, at workplace or wherever, they need to submit certain reports, right? That report could be progressive report, the report could be end report, the report could be anything. Mainly there are 3 types of report, right? Project report, then progressive report, lab reports. There are some more reports are there, but certain things are common in all these reports. For example, if we look at the components of the reports, title, abstract, introduction, methodology, results, conclusion, suggestions, all these are important components. Now, the engineers need to take all these components in the pictures when they draft a report. Right. Then the report also, it's not only written, but you need to add certain features to your report. For example, using visuals, for example, tables, graphs, diagrams to support your text. Don't just only depend on the text, rather you support your text with tables, graphs, and diagrams. Then you need to maintain clarity and logical flow of your report. For example, your conclusion cannot be in the first introduction. So you need to maintain everything in logical order. For example, title at the place of title, abstract at the place of abstract. And abstract also we don't need to write in the beginning. Rather, once we complete the report, then we need to think of writing an abstract. Abstract could be of 150 to 250 words, but first you complete the report and then you write the abstract. The report has to be clear, concise, and very specific to the point, and which is logically organized. Now, as I was discussing abstract and summary writing, now abstract is nothing but brief overview of a key objective and outcomes. Now, abstract mainly are nothing but the main point, objectives, methodology, and conclusion. Right? These are the main features of abstract. Right? And abstract can be of 150 to 250 words. Sometimes 60 to 100 words also applicable, depending on the type of project you are doing or type of reports you are writing. Right. When it comes to summary can be of 1 or 2 pages, which may include introduction, right, methodology, then results and findings, right, with references. Right. Now, as an engineer, we need to think of keeping both the concise and objective clear. When you are writing a report or any project you are writing, you need to be clear about the abstract. That is very important, because sometimes many people don't get time to read the entire project. So the abstract or the summary of the project will give the idea to the readers what this project is all about. Okay. Next, presentation skills. Now, same report or project report, you are going to present it. Now, what are the do's and don'ts of presentation skills? What we need to have, right, in terms of slides, and what are the do's and don'ts we need to see. Let us discuss this. Now, when we make a presentation, we need to be clear about our slides. Right? Our slides has to be very short, simple, and clear. Before we prepare our slides, we need to think about our target audience. Now, the target audience decides what sort of presentation you are preparing. Right? Let's say your target audience is the manager, right, or your colleagues at workplace. Accordingly, you can fix the presentation. We can present your points of view with the help of PowerPoint presentations. All right. So first is use clear slides with limited text. Now, presentation also, you don't need only text, but you also need certain graphs, pictures, right, tables to enunciate or to talk about or to explain what you want to say. Right. While making presentation, we need to also be wary about your body language. Now, when you are making a presentation and you are reading the slides, that's not going to help. Now, when you are making a presentation and you are not able to maintain eye contact, that's not a good way of presentation. So, when you make a presentation, you need to maintain eye contact with each and every one present there. Then, you don't need to read the slides. Rather, you need to explain what you have done as a part of projects or reports, and you need to present to the rest of the audience. Don't think that audience cannot read, and if you're just reading it, that is not a good way of presentations. You can also use a lot of examples, charts, visual aid to enhance the understanding or clarify the doubts of the audience. Now, after every presentation, there is something called question answer sessions. Now, you must be ready to take questions from the audience, right? There are certain techniques you can apply. Let's say some questions are asked to you, you need to be respectful while answering those questions, okay? Then secondly, you need to also be wary about difficult questions or the question which you cannot answer. In this regard, what you can do is you need to talk frankly to the audience that you are unable to, or you have not thought about it, or this question Might we will take up little later, or we will discuss after the presentations. Those things you can include it. There is no harm in saying that you don't know about it and you will learn about it. Next important point is listening skills. Listening is one of the toughest skills I would like to say, because budding engineers, you need to be very careful about listening, which you never pay attention to. But if you want to get good opportunities in your career, you need to be listening clearly. And when I mean listening, I only say active listening. And if you want me to further discuss this listening can be divided into two: listening and hearing, right? Many students think that, or many engineers think that listening and hearing are the same, but no. Listening is something different and hearing is something different. When you listen actively and you're able to answer, you're able to ask questions, you are able to learn. While when you are hearing, you're just pretending to listen. You are not listening, you are not learning, and you don't know what to ask. So that's a clear difference between listening and hearing. So when I say listening, when you are sitting in the class, or you are attending the meeting, or you are at workplace, so whatever instruction is there or meeting is there, you need to be listening attentively. Then your 80% work is done when you listen, right? So when you listen, you understand the instructions clearly, and you don't need to depend on others. And when you listen actively, you can also ask questions wherever it is required or whenever it is necessary. That's very important. And when you listen, you can avoid distractions and focus on the speaker. When you focus on the speaker, you need to nod the head, you need to maintain eye contact, right? Certain things which the speakers also know that you are listening. So what are the benefits of listening? Now, listening can build relationship. Listening can avoid many fights or many ego clashes. So listening can help you to be mindful. Listening can help you to understand others' problem. Listening can also help you to to develop certain empathy or be empathetic towards others or understanding others' problems. So listening is very important for engineers. So my budding engineers, don't ignore this skill. This is very important. Moving to the next, as initially I said, listening, speaking, reading, writing, all components are included. When you want to become a professional like engineer, you don't need to ignore any skills, right? So moving to speaking skills. Now, speaking is not only about the language, or it's not only about the expressions. It's about how much confident you are. It's about how your body language reacts to certain situations. All right. It's about, are you being nervous or are you being confident? Speaking is all about, are you being informative? Do you have the knowledge or do you have the information to share with everyone? If you're nervous, why are you nervous? Why are you thinking about others? What others will say to you or what they're thinking about you? Why are you worried about others are going to judge you? If you want to be a good speaker, you need to forget all these questions in your mind. You need to focus on your content and delivery. Now, when you focus on content, I mean to say it's nothing but the knowledge or information which you are going to share with the audience. The audience could be anyone. It could be in the classroom. It could be at your workplace. It could be in the office meeting. It could be the interview. It could be the group discussion, anything. So when you speak, you need to organize your thoughts before speaking. You need to plan. You need to organize, and then you need to deliver, right? And when you are speaking, use simple language, avoid jargons, and be very specific and precise. Because if you are not, then you are giving chance to others to interpret the message or the text, whichever you are saying. Now, since English is not our mother tongue, right? So we need to be mindful about pronunciation, or at least we should be intelligible to others while speaking. I'm not talking about, you need to get British accents or American accents. Since we have adopted English language as our own, something like Indian English. So we don't need to be right so much worried about it, but we need to be practicing so that we need to be intelligible to others, right? Learn certain technical terms and how you can pronounce those, because in engineering there are different sets of technical vocabulary which you need to learn how to pronounce it, and you need to pronounce appropriately. Now, when you speak, it also includes certain features like fluency, right, accuracy, expressions, body language, eye contact, organization of your thoughts, right? Then introduction, body, conclusion of your speech, or whenever you talk, that the all components make you a very good speaker. Right, a speaker, when I say fluency, does not mean you go on speaking on anything or whatever you want to speak. No. Fluency means when you are able to speak continuously on a given topic for a long time with your understanding clarity, and when you are able to give understanding or clarity to the audience. That's what I mean fluency. When I say accuracy, I mean to say is you need to be speaking grammatically correct sentences. That's what I mean to say in terms of accuracy. Moving to the next important topic, that is group discussion skills. This is very important for first years and all the, engineering students when it comes to placements, training, and their skills. Group discussion means a lot to them. Now, these days, before interview, group discussion plays important role. Now, what are the some of the components of group discussion, right? When you are part of a group discussion, you need to have patience to listen and respect others' viewpoints. That's very important, right? In a group, you should not be dominant or dominating all the time. Rather, you should be listening and asking others. You should be listening and waiting for your chance to come. And when you get the chance, you need to speak, right? You should not be interrupting all the time to other speaker. You should listen. You should listen patiently. When given the chance, you speak, right? You should be present your ideas with a lot of clarity and concisely. You can present your ideas clearly and concisely. You can also agree or disagree with someone in the group respectfully, because respect is something we need to give to all the individuals, right? That's a part of professional communication. Now, and we also sometimes in a team, some member of the team unable to speak or does not want to speak. So as a member of the team, we need to encourage such colleague or the friend to speak or participate. And we need to be inclusive while while talking or conversing with others. When it comes to interview, as I said, before interview, going for the interview, we have a group discussion. Now, interview also is one of the difficult skill to master, right? But what we need is practice, right? And before we practice, we need to prepare, right? Preparation is very important. So when you appear for the interview, before interview, you need to prepare certain things. For example, you need to take care of your communication skills, definitely. Then you need to be ready with your clear responses when common questions are asked. Okay. Then you also need to thinking about how to respond to the particular questions which you are unable to answer, right? Then you need to also be wary about your body language, eye contact, gestures, postures, right? And you need to say certain things in certain manner. For example, a question is asked, and if you don't know the answer, you need to be respectfully or politely, you need to answer that, sorry, I'm unable to answer right now. I'll learn this question, right? There's no harm in that. Rather than saying, I don't know, if you say, I know, and you are giving wrong answer, this gives wrong information to the interviewers, and they're not fooled. They understand that what you are doing with them. So there is a chance that you may not get the opportunity. So when we appear for the interview, we need to be honest and sincere to our answers, right? Before you go for the interview, you need to groom yourself properly. For example, proper haircut, nice clean shave, right? Maintain neat and clean dress, take bath, right? Do all this. This all are part of the process of appearing for the interview. You cannot ignore even a minute thing. Carry file, everything, all the file certificates, everything you need to see, right, before you appear for the interview, right? You should not think that you missed something. You should never be in hurry, right? You should reach to the place of the interview well before time, right? You should be, you should not be like nervous, right? You should be able to answer appropriately with a smile, right? Now, there is a term called a STAR method for behavioral questions. So these questions are like situation, task, action, and results. Now, when you are asked certain questions like situation, you need to talk about situations honestly. When you are given a task, you also need to talk about the processes or steps of task you can do. Then action, what action you have taken or you are going to take, you need to talk about, and then the results you need to present before them. While participating in interview or being one of the participants in the interview, you need to be confident, maintain positive body language, right, and be attentive. I mean, when interviewer asks questions, you should not be interrupting. Rather, you should listen the question first, wait for a moment, and then reply. Don't jump before listening to a question and you start answering. Even though you know the answer, wait for the questions to be completed. Wait for your turn. Don't jump for the answer. They will give you the time. The interviewers definitely will give you the time. So don't jump. Okay? Please wait for your turn. When the question is over, then you can answer. Now, engineers also need to work on technical documentations, and they need to be user-friendly, right? And they need to be very concise and precise. Now, what are these technical documentations? This could be a report writing. This could be project report. This could be memos. This could be circular. This could be emails. This could be anything related to workplace, right? So the technical documentations are very important part, and because engineers need to learn, and they are not the engineers of only one particular country and all. When you become engineer, you become the international. I mean, you are the part of international community, and hence you need to learn how to document your projects or everything related to this. Then when you are documenting certain manuals or guides which are user friendly, you need to include diagrams, levels, or step by steps instruction. While preparing your document, you need to ensure accuracy and consistency in formatting. That is very important. So technical documentations are one of the components of one of the components which engineers can master and they can grow in their career. Now, moving to conclusion and further learning, engineering is not about only 4-year course or any profession as such. For a teacher, engineer, doctor, scientists, lawyers, it's something like lifelong learning. So engineers need to develop this mindset that this is not a 4-year course, or when they're doing MTech 2-year course. No, engineering is all about lifelong learning. So they need to continuously work on their skills or hone their skills or improve wherever they need it to improve. And particularly reading and the practice of writing skills. That is very important, because reading and writing also dominate 70% of work at workplace. Then engineers need to be using online resources like engineering journals and communication workshops, right? Now, doing online courses related to language, particularly English language, doing courses related to soft skills, doing courses related to their core courses, right? This all plays important role in their communication at workplace. Now, a strong communication enhances engineering career. So my budding engineers, humble request to all is never ignore communication skills. I know you have the core skills, you have your technical knowledge, core subjects, but if you are ignoring your soft skills, communication skills, right, or language skills, you are not a complete engineer. When you want to be a complete engineer, you need to cover both technical plus language communication. And once you are ready with these two, you are ready with multiple opportunities in your life. So a strong communication enhances your engineering career, and soft skills and language skills help you to not only get the opportunities, but continue growing in your life as a professional or as a personal goal also. With this, I would like to thank you for everyone for this lecture. Thank you so much.